We're going to start recording. Hello everybody and welcome again to Live from the Library for Technology IQ. For more information visit our website, welchwright.com/techiq. That's WELCHWRITE.com/techiq, TECHIQ. Welcome again as always. We do this the second and fourth Thursdays of every month, even on a day like today, which is Valentine's Day. Welcome everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to you. It is also my birthday, my 44th birthday in fact. And so I always try to treat people well here. So let's see, let's reach in my goodie bag. And I stopped by the store today. And I didn't have any cake. My son usually makes the cake for me. I'm not sure what happened this year. But I did get a little goodie for everybody here. And yeah, we can't say happy birthday because that's copyright infringement, and they'll come hunt me down and sue me for everything. But here, please help yourself, and there's some paper towels. So today, I was sitting around trying to stay awake. I've had chronic bronchitis this week, so if I suddenly develop into a coughing fit, it's okay. I'll be fine. And so I hit on a couple things that I just wanted to show. Now, how many people here have heard of Wikipedia? Anyone heard of Wikipedia?
I just heard of it because our school wrote up a little thingy
on Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a user-built encyclopedia, if you will. Anybody, to a limit, can go in and start a page on a particular topic. Other people can edit those pages. There's collective editing that goes on. There is a series of editors, volunteer editors, who actually kind of ride herd over the whole thing. But Wikipedia, and you'll hear a lot about it if you have anybody, kids in school and stuff, because a lot of the administrators in a lot of schools say, don't use Wikipedia at all. And honestly, Wikipedia is, for the most part, on non-controversial items, fairly accurate and fairly current. For me, if I want just a quick rundown about something that I hear that I don't know about, I go to Wikipedia, I go to the little search button over here, I type in whatever I'm searching for, and I see what it has to say. Because often it gives me a really good overview of even some of the most obscure things that you might hear on the radio or read in a magazine or newspaper or whatever. In this case, I simply went and typed in Valentine's Day. And this is the entry for Valentine's Day. There's a little picture here. There's talks about the saint that it is named for, why it's named for that saint. If we scroll down, you get a little summary at the top, and then you can scroll down and you'll get a little history. The early Christian church looked for ways to basically co-opt existing pagan holidays, just like that's why Christmas is in December. Well, in February it was a fertility festival called Lupercalia in the Roman era, and so they decided, well, okay, we need a good saint's day to kind of counteract Lupercalia, and so it became St. Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, St. Valentine is no longer a saint. He was decommissioned, I'm not sure the exact term, as they did several of the older saints for lack of evidence. So, but
so is it wrong to put St. Valentine?
No, he still has a saint's day, I believe, and it is now a universal holiday, pretty much around the world, in the Christian world at least. Chaucer made it quite famous in his writing. And they talk about the first Valentine's Day cards, which are like 1880. It's always the 14th. And that's typical of Christian saints' days. They're always the same day, regardless of what day of the week they fall. Yeah. Probably issues with other things going on. Yeah, where did you see if you saw that?
Oh, right there. Right above Chaucer is the thing. Celebrated on the 13th, 14th.
Okay. Yeah, that was in talking about Lupercalia and the Juno Februa, which the term February, which I never really noticed before. It comes from Februa, which is like leg of the lamb or leg of the goat or something like that. And that's where the term February comes from. I was reading that earlier at another site. But anyway, so this one example. Now, we were talking earlier about bronchitis. Well, guess what? I have a whole thing on acute bronchitis, too. Anything you want to, and again, it's a great introduction to something you're looking for. I wouldn't use it as your sole source for anything. And on controversial items, all bets are off because people are basically fighting over those controversial items, getting their viewpoint told, so they tend to change rapidly, and they're not always the most accurate.
But you couldn't get that from Google?
I could also have done a search. Sometimes if I'm looking on a particular term, I happen to know if I'm looking for information on Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
I know if I go to Wikipedia, there's going to be a page on it. And it kind of collects a lot of information on one page, where on Google, I probably would have found the similar thing there. But it's the same reason you would pull a regular encyclopedia off the shelf. You just want a good overview of a particular topic. It's wikipedia.org. It's just another website like most everything else I show. And it is wikipedia.org. Now, Wikipedia comes from the term wiki, which is the name for the software that it uses, which allows, basically, wiki software allows anyone, it's a group editable website. Anybody can edit, or you can lock it down to only certain people, but you can edit at the same time, and everyone can kind of use it as a place to collect knowledge. The term wiki comes from wiki-wiki, which is Hawaiian for quick-quick. Those are other language versions of wiki. As you might imagine, there are Wikipedia in other languages, and certain pages are translated, certain pages only exist in that language because there's something particular to that language. But yeah, they're just all the different versions of Wikipedia, all the different language versions.
In other words, you hit the left and the right are changed.
Yeah, if you want, let's see here, let's go to, I was going to go to something I actually maybe read. Let's see here. Well, first of all, it's not called St. Valentine, it's called San Valentino. Valentino da Interamna è stato e vescovo in martire cristiano italiano. È venerato come santo dalla Chiesa Cattolica e successivamente dalla Chiesa Anglica, oltre ad essere considerato patrono degli innamorati.
Made my whole night. I'm completely Italian.
Oh, my wife is Sicilian, so I've had to learn Italian by proxy. It's been pure immersion for me. I had to just speak with the relatives. I basically got thrown in the deep end of the pond and sink or swim. So that's Wikipedia. If you have a chance, check it out. It's a great little place. Obviously, for something like Valentine's Day, it's a great little site to check. One little cute thing, of course, is I don't know if you visited Google today, but you'll often see Google often changes their header to a holiday-appropriate headline. And by the way, and some people don't know this. If you click on it, it takes you to a search about St. Valentine's Day. So,
I did not know that.
Yep.
And I'm glad you showed me that. 'Cause I was on jury duty today, so I didn't get that. Go Google that.
And you see the top result for Valentine's Day is Wikipedia. So kind of a circular reference there. Just checking the chat room here to see if anyone's come in. So that was just a fun thing there. Another little silly thing, and I don't know if you've ever seen this. This is called, well, the site is icanhascheeseburger.com. icanhascheeseburger.com, and cheeseburger is spelled with a C-H-E-E-Z burger.com. Yes, and I'll explain to you why it's so silly. This is one of those internet memes, and a meme is it's just a kind of a viral idea that travels around through the internet. I can't have cheeseburger. Somebody started posting photos of cats with silly phrases around them, okay? And they're called LOL cats, as in, the shorthand for laughing out loud. They're called LOL cats. And if you search on LOL cats, you'll find tons of these photos. This site is a collection, a daily collection of any new LOL cats that are out there.
Yeah.
So you see, this is the cat standing on the basketball saying, "Skills, I has it," and the language they use is part of the joke. It's kind of this, I don't know, gibberish almost, but like there's nom pop nom pop nom. So it's the cat. And let's see here. I think gotta have the burrito. I have said that I'm going to declare
Oh, look at their tail. That's cute.
our Valentine. Will you be it?
Oh, my gosh.
I think that's graphically.
The tails are probably photoshopped. Yes.
That's the cutest. I love that.
Once I has it. And the original LOL cat was a big, old, fluffy, short-haired gray cat looking up into the screen, kind of like this, with his mouth open, a big smile on his face, and it says, "I can't have cheeseburger?" And that's where the name of the site comes from. The other day,
That's so cute.
I was feeling really lousy, and I'm going to declare this site an official antidepressant drug.
Oh.
Because you look at this page, and within the first 5 minutes, you are just laughing your butt off in most cases.
Oh my gosh.
I got floating text. That's all on the front page. You can see how many pages there are at the bottom. Oh, there's thousands on here. I can never. I have to find the original one because I always want that around and I forget that. And you can make your own LOL cat. It says, take a picture, add a caption, write something funny. You can even make one just for your friends and then submit it. And so you can submit your own LOL cats photos. So again, another little silly thing.
Well, I like that particular one. Thank you.
Okay, now for something a bit more serious.
Technical.
A bit more, not even technical. I'm not much tech tonight. Not much tech
I
tonight.
like the
But this one is useful, and you may have heard it before. It's called the IMDb, or the Internet Movie Database. Okay. You know when you're sitting around late night and you you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, who is that actor? Who is the person playing that? Oh, and where have I seen them before? Well, the fact is, the the Internet Movie Database allows you, in a lot of cases, to figure out who that person is, and even more importantly, what other work they've done. I found it especially useful for producers and writers, little lesser-known personalities, because you'll find out, that the guy who wrote the screenplay for The Wizard of Oz also wrote like 42nd Street and all these MGM music. Like, oh, so that's obviously what he did. I was sitting around one night doing that, and oftentimes when we're watching an older film, I will pull out the computer and it's like, why do I know him from? Because I recognize people by voices often. I'm like, I've heard him before. I know he's in another movie. And so as long as I have the character name, for example, the example I used tonight, if we say Harry Potter, there's an actor in Harry Potter who was recently cropped up in a couple of other movies, and he is only in, let me see, he is in The Prisoner of Azkaban. And his character's name is Wormtail.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And it's like, okay, okay, Wormtail. Who played Wormtail in The Prisoner of Azkaban? Come on, go through, link please, thank you. So we can come in and there will be a cast list of all, of all the cast. And so we scroll down and we say, okay, that's fine. Here we go. Okay, I don't see him here on the main list. Let's scroll down. He's fairly small, mostly. So we say more. Oh, there actually are. No, alphabetical. So you hit the more button and it expands out. Come on, hurry up. And we'll find him here in a second. Maybe I scrolled by one. Okay.
Interesting that it's taken.
No, I can't. Don't see him here. I might probably. Huh. Oh, that's right. That was his nickname. He was Pettigrew. That was his. Peter Pettigrew. That was his name. Peter.
He was just in at the bottom of that page.
There he is, Peter. Oh, okay. Okay, so that tells us the actor's name is Timothy Spall. So I can then click on Timothy Spall's page.
And see what else he's done.
And then I can see everything, pretty much everything that he's done. Now, has anyone seen Sweeney Todd?
Yes.
He is in Sweeney Todd. He plays the Beetle in Sweeney Todd. That was his most recent role. You could also. He was also in a series of unfortunate events. He played the lawyer taking the kids around in that film. Well, let's look here. He's obviously in the. Yeah. Oh, was he in Enchanted too?
Well, number 10.
Let's see. There he is, Enchanted. I didn't see it. I didn't see it, so that's funny. So all of a sudden you start going back here, and you're like, oh my gosh, what else has he done? And he was in Nicholas Nickleby in 2002.
He's been pretty busy because those are all.
I don't even recognize.
Timothy Spall, S-P-A-L-L.
I guess I would recognize his face.
Well, he's got.
Yeah, if we look here, let me find. Oh, was that him in Enchanted? I didn't see it.
And he's
So.
playing the little creature in Enchanted,
Yes?
Yeah, he's one of the animals from the other world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's-
yeah,
I didn't
plays the
see
voice.
that.
That's the other thing interesting too. You'll hear a voice in an animated feature, and then you can use this thing back and say, "Is that who I think it is?"
Yeah.
And you'll find it is someone you already know from another realm. So again, we use this a lot, and because we're always finding people. We like British television a lot, and so I will often see British television people show up in other series and other movies, and it's like, oh, that's the guy from blah blah blah, and I'll use this to find it. And then finally, to do a little, not personal promotion, but I can do some family promotion here. If I type in my wife's name, and I've not, well, she's an emeritus right now. She's not doing television writing at the moment. She's actually finishing up her PhD at the moment. She's all but dissertation.
Is she in WG?
She was, yeah. She's an emeritus member, though. So this is my wife's credit. And actually, there was a couple that were in here, but I realized a lot of them weren't in here. And so I actually made an account, and I was able to go in and get the rest of her credits in here and everything.
Okay, 11 episodes of Touched by an Angel.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote them?
Yes,
No.
yes,
She wrote them?
yes,
So writers are in there too?
yeah.
11 episodes?
Yep.
That is so awesome.
Wow, because I used to love that show. I know I'm not even
Yeah,
religious or
that is
anything,
a
but
good
I
one.
like that show.
In her later episodes, she was there for 5 years, and I think from her third year on, she was actually a producer as well. So, and then the Beverly Hills 90210 and the Picket Fences were her getting started. You know, those were her first scripts that she wrote.
So Picket Fences, wasn't that the one with the,
Tom Skerritt,
Yeah, Tom Skerritt.
the sheriff, and the doctor.
judge?
Yep. Which was my wife, one of my wife's
Girlfriend,
favorite actors from My Favorite March. She loved him. Ray Walston. He was also in South Pacific.
Yeah.
It's one of my wife's favorite actors. I'm not sure if she got to meet him or not during that shit. I don't remember actually, but I'm sure she tried. Just that was a freelance script, just one episode to get you going. You basically have to write freelance first, and then you hopefully get a staff position, which you get. And one final thing, again, another kind of collective useful tool is the Library of Congress recently put online, how many photos did they say? I think several thousand. Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, 1,600 photos. They took these photos. These are from the 1939 to 1944. These are from the Office of War Information and the Farm Security Administration. These are colored photos. The black and white ones are probably better known, Dorothea Lange photos, stuff like that. These were a series of color photos taken at the time of just average everyday life in America. Coal ships unloading on the Great Lakes and stuff like that. What they've done, they've obviously in their system have classified and put keywords and stuff on the Library of Congress site, but there's this thing called tagging, which we've talked about, where you create everybody in the world. You get a collection of minds, and you create what's called a folksonomy. It's kind of a group-based way of organizing information. Well, they know that Flickr, this website that's owned by Yahoo, and it's a photo sharing site. Whenever I upload photos, I can tag them with various keywords. Saying this is yellow, this is a flower, it's in a garden, whatever. I can tag, and other people can tag my photos too. So that they put these photos up and said, folks, go crazy. Tag these photos for us so that more people can find them and use them. So, for example, if you type in Rosie or Rosie the Riveter, you'll see that there are a series of photos that have been tagged with Rosie by people just like you and I, tagged Rosie the Riveter.
So they can be tagged more than once?
And with hundreds of keywords, whatever keywords are appropriate.
We'll hold it up.
Yeah, I mean, this one here, we can look at some of the keywords on one of these photos. Where's the one I saw earlier? This one here is a really dramatic photo. And we can, so first of all, it's woman, USA, black, color photo. And then along the right-hand side here, you'll see all the tags that have been added. Library of Congress, woman, worker, drill, reflection, medal, scarf, uniform, Rosie the Riveter, Nashville, Tennessee, that's where it was taken, Vengeance, dive bomber, hand, Alfred L. Palmer, which is probably perhaps the photographer, World War II, spelled in a couple different ways, 4x5, because this is a 4x5 print, not a smaller 35mm print, so on and so forth. Even the word stoic has been, strong and stoic and tough has been applied to the photo. So if you're looking for tough photos of women, you could actually type in tough women, and you would find, throughout all of Flickr, it would find pictures that, or just within this collection, it would also find it. And all these tags were added by people like you and I. There's a book out there called The Wisdom of Crowds, which talks about the fact that they've done studies of, like, you have the typical bean in the jar count at the county fair. You guess how many beans are in it? The chances of an individual guessing exactly are almost nil.
Yeah.
But if they take all the answers from everyone who enters the contest and they average them, it comes down to like 1% accuracy. Yeah. And there's some specific rules about it. One of the interesting rules that people kind of ignore is people can't talk to each other about it, because in talking to each other you actually throw it off. But if people just make their guess and you average all the guesses together, there are certain things that happen that make things pretty, you can actually figure stuff out this way, and that's the wisdom of crowds. It's a whole book on it. I'm not doing it any great service here. But if you have a chance, check it out. They have it here at the library, because I've actually gotten it out of the library. Wisdom of Crowds.
So I don't get that. So is it to figure out how many people were at a certain thing?
Well, what they've done is they've also shown that you can predict certain events, the possibility of certain events occurring, by taking, instead of saying, this is one person's view of the future, and we're going to have flying cars and be eating pills for dinner, and that's one person's view. But if you take every person's view of the future, or a large section, and kind of average their ideas together, you actually come up with something that's probably closer to the truth than if just one person
So
is.
are there standard questions on it?
There's a whole science based around this, about using this collective intelligence, they call it. But tagging is one way that we can apply this collective intelligence today. Wikipedia is too, really. It is a collective intelligence. People go in, and I write something, and someone else will clarify it, or add more to it, or correct what I've written, or say, no, that's terribly wrong, and here's why it's wrong. So collectively, we develop these resources.
And so, when people say, oh, they say, and people go, who's they?
Now you know. It's they. It's all of us. Well, unfortunately, when people say they, they're usually meaning that no one said it. That's their opinion. Well, they say. Who are these they? I want to know who these they are, because they're making my life really a pain. So
Now you could say collective intelligence.
So that's my kind of introduction to some neat internet sites for this week. I hope you find them interesting. Go ahead and dig around and check them out. I think you'll enjoy them. And I'm sure you'll find something enlightening in there. There was something that was mentioned the other day that I only vaguely knew what it was. It was about a particular shipwreck or something. Oh, it was about a ship. It ended up being about a ship a ferry that capsized in the harbor off of Manhattan. And, it basically, huge loss of life. Very, we don't know anything about it today, but back at its time, it was, the event, the dramatic event of its period. And I'd only vaguely heard the name of the boat, but I didn't know what it was about. So I went to Wikipedia, and sure enough, boom, it's a whole explanation of what happened and why they think it happened, and contemporary writing about it and all this stuff. So.
And that was
Wikipedia.
Is Amazon.com, it sells everything, right?
It doesn't sell everything, but it sells a lot of stuff.
I thought it was just books. Truly books.
Oh no, they've expanded far beyond books. They even sell groceries now. Yeah, they even sell groceries. They do home delivery of groceries and stuff. James Surowiecki.
Oh, and you can get it used.
That's where I got it when I read it. This is interesting too, because they bring up a couple of other similar books. And Tipping Point is another great book by Malcolm Gladwell. Explains of how certain things will languish and languish and languish and languish, and you're like, oh, I'm going to give up on ever changing this situation or this problem. And all of a sudden, something changes and it happens. And Wikinomics I'm reading right now, actually. Yeah.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm. So that tipping point is, why did fax machines suddenly take off when they took off. So only, you know, basically early on, a company would have a fax machine in their office and in a warehouse or something, but there wasn't enough of them to really make the impact. Well, as soon as enough people got them, it reached a tipping point to where, boom, all of a sudden everybody got them, because for every machine sold, the fax became more useful.
Yeah.
Because the more people you could fax to, the more useful your machine became. And so once it reached a certain point, it just exploded. And I believe that's one of the stories from the Tipping Point book. But I tend to read a lot. I tend to read a lot of different books, a lot of different topics. And so that's how I came across these. I hear them on podcasts that I listen to, or I come across them when I'm reading magazines or going around the web. So.
The Wisdom of Crowds, is that kind of a fun one to read too, though? Or is it real?
I find it fun, but I'm a geek. So, it is interesting. I remember it as being.
I find it interesting.
I remember it being, hey Gianni, how you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. I found it to be really interesting. Both the Tipping Point and Wisdom of Crowds, very well written, very engaging, and it kind of pulls you through. I can't say for sure, but I think it was one of those, 2 or 3 day reads for me, where it just kind of like, and it just sucks you in. So try it out. I mean, every book is not for every person, but if you have an interest in things like this, like collective intelligence and the way people interact and stuff like that, I'm reading a thing right now, another book called Mind Your X's and Y's, and it's all about the differences in Generation X and Generation Y, the way they approach technology and friendship. We hear, MySpace friending and stuff like that, and how they get their information. And a lot of what I've been saying for a long time, which is people of that age, and I am old for thinking this way myself, but I tend to try to hang out with the X and Y's just so I don't feel so far behind.
And now look at you.
When they need something, when they need a plumber, a new car, a new camera, they don't go to the newspapers, they don't go to the libraries, they don't go to the Cisco and Eberts of the world. They first immediately turn to their friends, and that can be face-to-face friends, or that can be now more. They actually turn to their online collection of friends, their Facebook friends, their MySpace friends, and some people classify those as acquaintances. I tend to classify those. Some I know personally because I've met them. Others are more acquaintances. I've only met them online, like Gianni. But we've been doing video back and forth, so I probably know Gianni better than I know some other people. So if you're a retailer, if you're a company out there trying to sell something, the way these two generations buy is entirely different. Make their buying decisions is entirely different from the way someone like myself or someone your age would make their decisions. And it's when we ignore that companies start to fall apart, because as the baby boomers age, these generations become more prominent in their purchasing power, and more of them are buying stuff than the baby boomers. I was born in the last year of the baby boomers. I'm officially a baby boomer. At 44, 1964 is officially the last year of the baby boom.
Really?
Yeah. It doesn't either. I don't feel. When I was younger, I would say, oh yeah, I'm a baby boomer, because I grew up in a small town, 2,000 people, rural. So I got a 1950s upbringing in the 70s. But then once I moved out here, once I went to college and moved here, I realized, I actually have more in common with this generation than this.
Yeah.
Although everyone.
It changed a lot from the time after the war to the early 50s.
It did, and I've always been surprised that they made that delineation in there, but they did. So anyway, a couple interesting books there for you. Now, let me say, is there any questions that I can answer for you guys tonight?
Yeah.
Only because you just brought up something about fax machines.
Yes, ma'am.
When I first got
Throw them away.
My other
Don't ever use
years ago, 15 years ago, when I was looking for a job, I used to fax my resume all of it from my computer at home. Do you know that since then I don't even know if I have a fax in my computer?
If you still have a modem in your computer.
Don't all of them have modems in them?
No, see, now we're at the era where lots of computers don't come with modems
So my new
anymore.
one probably does not.
A brand new one today will not come with a modem
My
for
old
most
one
records.
had the
This,
fax.
I
Yeah,
think
but
this.
even a computer
I was
I get
surprised.
rid of.
This computer actually did, and I was really surprised.
How do you know if you do?
You look for a little phone jack on it. I mean, that's really going to be the only jack that looks like a phone jack.
Looks like the regular.
The network one is fatter.
Oh, okay.
It's the network one is called. Okay, here's some geek. Can I geek out on you guys?
Go for it. Your birthday.
Oh, I don't have the cable with me.
Oh.
A regular phone cord has 4 wires, and it's called an RJ11. And it's about that wide. A network cable is called an RJ45. It has 8 wires, and it's about that wide.
Oh.
You can actually tell. A phone cable actually will fit into a network port. It won't work, but it will fit. But a network cable will not fit in the modem port. It's too fat. It's too fat. If you work in an office and you see the phones, the office phones typically have the fat plug, the RJ45s on them. So that there's a little bit of.
Okay, so just go look at my new computer, see if I actually can plug the wire into my phone.
If you have it, and then.
Can't I go in my computer somewhere and look?
Yeah, you can go control panel, system, the system control panel. Look at the device manager, and it will list all the stuff that's in your computer, and it'll call out a modem, and it'll probably say blah 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 fax modem, fax data modem. I would be hard pressed to find any computer that still has a modem that does not also have a fax modem. Before, yeah, typically it was you had a modem, and if you paid extra, you got a fax modem.
You had to have a program, but mine was, my old computer was built in.
Yeah, you had to have some software to talk as a fax.
Yeah.
So that if it got a fax call, it could understand it. Now, there's a reason I said get rid of faxes, and I want to take an axe to every fax machine I find, because they take beautiful, editable documents that you can work with on your computer, and they turn them into a picture.
Oh, true, yeah.
So the person on the other end can do nothing with it. That's why these days it's so much better to send a PDF file. And we've talked about PDF files, or Adobe Reader files. PDF stands for Portable Document Format. It's designed so no matter what computer you view it on, it looks exactly like it's supposed to look. Think IRS forms. All the IRS forms now are available as PDF files. And you can bring them to your computer and you can print them out. The other benefit of a PDF file is if you send a PDF file, it looks like a picture. But in your PDF reader, you'll find you can actually select text out of it, copy it, and paste it into your word processing program or spreadsheet or whatever. It's still usable. You can't edit the PDF, but the data inside it is still usable. You can pull it out and put it in something else and then edit it. With the fax, it's just a picture. It scans the same way. It's just a picture, and there's very little you can do with it.
And we really don't need them anymore. You can
Except people still require signed documents. Signed, handwritten signature documents.
Not even realty offices do that. They thought my daughter uses all that.
Yep, and that's part of the reason, because they have to be signed. I have a way of doing that, in that basically I scan my signature in, and I bring it up as a picture, paste my signature on it, and fax it back to them if I have to do that. It's not easy to do, but it's a way around it. Because, yeah, it never fails. I had to fax back a form for a W-9 form to someone. It's like, I don't have long distance on my home phone number. Well, in this case, I got lucky because my wife was going to her office, and I was able to fax it from there. But it can be it can be in a trip to Kinko's sometimes, or Kinko's FedEx now, to do it. So fax was useful for its time. Now, did you know? Hey, thanks for the happy birthday. Facsimile was actually started with telegraph. The first fax machines used telegraph to communicate pictures. There was a show called The Secret Life of Machines, who actually built a facsimile telegraph. So that's actually the full name, I think, of the facsimile telegraph. And basically, you had clocks at both ends that were perfectly in sync. They would stay in sync, pendulum clocks. And one would detect what was written on the page here by running current through it. And it would send the current down the telegraph line, and then it would actually burn the paper on the other end with the image you were trying to send it. Yeah, I mean, if you don't, I'm always amazed at how things were developed. And it goes back even further than that. If you think about the old semaphore, you had a guy on a hill over here and a guy on a hill over here, and they're passing messages. That's basically fax. It's all based on the same system. So yeah, check your computer.
Not that I need it.
You should also see a printer. You'll also see a printer label that says fax. You'll have a printer in your printers list that says fax, if you have a fax, and the software in there to do that. That's the software that's needed. You have to have the software in order to basically take it and, because the fax is really just a printer to the computer, except it then dials out, goes up. Yeah, I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Next question. Anybody else?
So you know there are two people that are watching this?
Yeah. Gianni I know from Seismic, which I've shown in the past. The Ustreamer, the numbered one is a generic person. They're not registered on Ustream, and so they're just watching and typing. I'm only showing one viewer right now. Sometimes that doesn't update, but we're not very many people right now. But I'm recording it too, so people after the fact can watch it. Yeah, I mean, live video stuff is amazing. Oh, there was one site.
People don't like to use it, but
Well, the funny thing is, Skype in the U.S. is just starting to really catch on. In Europe, Skype is. You mentioned Skype to anyone from Europe, and they're like, yeah, because they use it. And the biggest reason is the phone calls in Europe are much more expensive than we pay here. Skype is a system that allows you to basically make. I'm not seeing it here. Allows you to make at its basic level computer-to-computer phone calls, audio to anyone in the world for free. We're talking computer-to-computer; it's totally free. Add on top of that now, they also have the ability to do video calls, and so we've actually talked on video with the relatives in Italy.
Really?
Yeah. I have talked to, you see Eric listed here and Johan. They're actually in Amsterdam, I think, one of them is. And they are doing some programming for a client of mine, and I had to kind of coordinate between my client and them. And so we set a time, it was like the end of their day, the beginning of my day, and we set a time to make a phone call and talk as long as we wanted.
Like every
For no
Monday
cost.
at
Well,
Did you dial a phone
oh.
number, or
Eric, what's Eric sending me? Or Yahoo, back up. That's not, and it also has an instant messenger client, which is,
you can read that?
well, as far as the size, that one I couldn't.
No, over there in the corner, it was like in a foreign language.
Yeah, that one was in Spanish, I think. That's collecting up, I think, birthday greetings from the day, but I haven't been logged in here in a while. There's another component, which is the IM component, which is you can just do text chatting as well, which is useful when even when you're talking with someone. If I give a URL, if I give an address, well, when I say it, I could also paste it in, and they could just click on it and it would take them right there as well. So sometimes things are just better sent to them directly so they can just click on it, instead of trying to read a long URL to someone.
Okay, tell me how you phone somebody. So you're in there, and you sign up and open up.
These are people who are online right now. I have people in my buddy list, my contacts list, and this shows me their status. Like here's Gianni. So that's Michael. And the little video symbol here means he actually has video on his computer and can send and receive video with us. Now, I think because I'm Ustreaming, I won't be able to. I don't think I'll be able to do video with someone, but Steve. Is Steve on? Let's see here. It is ringing on his computer.
Yeah.
It was Marty. He was idle. He was not. I try to make sure I turn mine off when I'm not at my desk, just so people can do that. Trying to think, is anyone I don't
Keep it now.
feel better.
Is there email address in there or a phone number in there? What's in
You
there?
find them via their name usually. There's a search where you can go in and like if you type in Douglas Welch, you'll find several Douglas Welches, and then you'll see Douglas Welch and Van Nuys, and you would know what I mean. Or I can simply give you my phone number. My Skype address is Douglas Welch, all one word. And if I give that to you, then you can add me to your contacts list, and then you'll be able to see my status when I'm online or not.
Okay, so if I went into Skype and I opened up an account, I could go into somewhere and type in your
Yeah,
name
if you
and
go
they'll know
in
you're
here,
there.
let's see, let's say add,
Oh, add contact.
yeah, where's it at? There it
Right
is, add
there.
contact. And I could say,
So how much does it cost
It's free.
PC to PC is totally free
to join Skype?
to join and to use it. That's one of the biggest, huge benefits. There are even phones that you can, regular phones you can plug into your computer that will ring if someone calls your Skype number, if someone Skypes you. Now, additionally, there are other features that they provide for a fee. First one is called Skype Out. Well, as you might imagine, if I'm calling my parents in Ohio, they don't have Skype. They don't have a computer. I can't Skype them.
Oh,
okay?
yes, okay.
But I can go to Skype, I can go to the website, and for about 1.5 euro cents a minute, I can buy X number of minutes of Skype out time. Then I sit here on my computer and I dial a real number, and somewhere in the hinterlands of Ohio, my parents' phone rings, and they pick up the phone and say, "Hi," and I start talking to them
Right sitting here.
from my computer.
But they're on the phone.
Usually with a usually it's best with a headset so you don't get any echo or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't use your minutes now?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah,
I mean,
that would.
then I'm paying 1.5 euro cents a minute to
Oh.
talk to a normal user.
Regular phone.
Regular phone.
Landline.
A landline,
And
thank
they
you.
don't have to pay.
They don't have to pay a dime.
Yeah, but you gotta fill it up ahead of time.
No, actually, I can, as long as I have my Skype minutes bought myself, they don't have any idea I'm using Skype at all. They are just receiving a normal phone call. If I wanted to call the relatives in Sicily more often, I could just buy Skype out minutes, and instead of paying $1 a minute, which is what it is basically, I think, to Italy, I could pay 1.5 euro cents a minute, ringing their normal phone. Their phone in their house would just ring, and they don't know.
They have no idea who's on the other
That's
end.
why it's so popular in Europe. It is just amazingly popular in Europe.
How does it, oh my gosh.
I can't even see up there,
SKYPE.com. So the another thing that Skype provides you is, okay, I'm going to, hold on just a second, I'm going to stop the recording. Please continue viewing in part 2 of this video.